This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for August 25th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. No idea if this sound is even coming out right now. New microphone. Had some issues last week and the interview up at Spikes. So I had to upgrade to a newer microphone. Still playing around with the settings, so I have no idea how this is going to sound. So we will adjust as we go through the week. But it is Tuesday, time for a little motivation / positivity brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join and get involved today. All right, so we are officially the last full week of the unofficial summer season, but back to school. Lots of people going back this week or next week. Brings a lot of change. Some people going to school. You have some folks that are being empty nesters for the first time. So lots of changes, lots of maybe tough times, whatever you got going on. And I thought this was great. This comes from our old pal, Mark Manson, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. But the quote is simple. You survived every single thing you thought you couldn't handle up until this point. Why would the next one or this one be any different? And I really, really like this because this isn't everything will be fine, suck it up, deal with it type deal. And it's actually very appropriate because I'm dealing with an incident at work without getting into some details where I just have a very stubborn teacher who is not open to a new position and whatever. But this isn't you'll be fine. It's more look at your track record. Look at what you've been through, the situations that you've endured and overcome. At those points in times, you probably question, I'll never make it through this, or how am I going to do this? Those types of things. But you did. You're still here. You got to the other side. For lack of a better way to put it, it didn't kill you. It might not have been easy, may not have been fun, but you survived and you got through it. So I think the next time you're faced with a challenge or a difficult situation that just feels like, this is terrible, I think sometimes it's better to just stop, take a breath, and remember to look back at the previous challenge and the previous tough situations that you have, not just the current one you're facing, because a lot of times we get so caught up in the moment that that's all we're seeing. And I'm having this issue with the teacher where all she's focused on is I don't want to. Essentially, she doesn't want to teach math, but she's psyching herself out that she doesn't want to teach math. And it's like, okay, but I've worked with this teacher for a long time. Through our work, we've been through a lot of challenges, and it's always the same thing. Yes, it sucks at that point in time, but if you look at the big picture, obviously, you'll get through it. We've gotten through it. And you do it by learning and adjusting, relying on support systems. So all of those things that you've done in the past is appropriate to use now. Your past isn't just your past, it's your track record. So when you're feeling like, oh my goodness, now I have this situation I'm dealing with, you've done it before. Maybe it might have looked different, or it may have been not the exact same, but you've faced tough situations. You've gotten over tough situations. So essentially trust the process, trust the foundation that you've laid, the groundwork that you've laid under past situations. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to trust the version of yourself that has gotten you this far. So hopefully there's something in there you can take throughout your weeks, especially lots of transition going on now. It's the end of summer, back to school, all that. Hopefully you can take something out, but you've survived every other tough situation that you've been faced with up until this point. Why would this one be any different? And that is Tuesday Motivation Positivity, brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to theclashingconferences.com, check out their podcast, and see how you can join the squad today. All right, while you slept, this is, I guess, one of the benefits of West Coast baseball. The Phillies streak is over at 9 games. They got pounded by Cal Raleigh and the Mariners 9-2 last night. 3 home runs for Cal. Rodriguez hit a homer too. And I think it's time to maybe have conversations and should be concerned a little bit about Zack Wheeler. This is like 5 or 6 poor starts in a row for him. And what's making it even worse is he keeps saying he feels fine. And I know it's perplexing to him as well. So it's just, I think this is a little bit more than just a dead arm. And again, I don't know if he needs to take a start off, whether that would even do him any good, knowing his work ethic and the way he prepares for everything, but just not the Zack Wheeler that we're accustomed to right now. So I'm not sure, but they look to get back on the winning side tonight. Aaron Nola on the mound. But that is today's question of the day. When is it time to be concerned with Zack Wheeler? Like, are we concerned now? Do you think he's a vet that can work through it? Because if you think back, I think Cliff Lee just kind of disappeared from the face of the earth. But we saw this with Roy Halladay. Granted, he was injured a lot, but all of a sudden he just completely dropped off. And I hope it's not, but it's possible that this is what's going on with Zack right now. And I don't know. So what are your thoughts on Zack Wheeler? Should we be concerned? 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. Hit me up. Give me your thoughts on Zack Wheeler. Anything else Philly sports related as well. Again, they're back at it tonight out in Seattle. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phils. Disappointing end to Eastside Little League's World Series run. They lost to Alabama last night. In extra innings, they had a 5-0 lead, but Alabama battled back and won it in the bottom of the 7th. But great run by this team. You guys did Pennsylvania and specifically this area proud. No reason to hang your heads. You were one of the top how many ever teams in the United States. So kudos to you guys. But Little League or Eastside Little League will not be moving on. All right, some Eagles news. They have their open practice tonight. Kind of jealous my son's getting to go down and I'm not. But kind of one of those things. But yesterday's question of the day, seems like everybody was on the Tanner McKee bandwagon. Everybody thinks Tanner McKee, me as well, should be the backup quarterback. One of the guys I follow on Twitter brought up a good point. It's like it has to be McKee because Dalton just doesn't have it. And learning a new system and being this far into the preseason, it's kind of hard to have somebody else learn it and be that effective at it. So we'll see what happens with that. But thank you to everybody who reached out yesterday. But overwhelming majority, Tanner McKee should be the backup quarterback for the Eagles. Now, I do have some inside information from yesterday's practice. Had somebody who was attending practice. Makai Lemon not only practiced, but was getting some substantial touches. Specifically over the middle. And this is coming right from somebody who was watching it at practice. And I don't know if maybe this is a sign of what the Eagles are thinking, but Tanner McKee was running the second team. So, and that is from eyes on the field yesterday. I will not reveal my sources, but I had insiders at practice yesterday watching for me. But Makai Lemon getting substantial touches was the report I got, specifically over the middle, as well as Tanner McKee running the second team offense. Make of that what you will. All right, yesterday's trivia question. The other retired numbers beside Richie Ashburn, that would be Jim Bunning, Dick Allen, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Roy Halladay, Robin Roberts, Jackie Robinson, Grover Cleveland Alexander, Chuck Klein, Ed Delahunty, Billy Hamilton, and Sam Thompson. Now, Alexander, Klein, Delahunty, Hamilton, and Thompson, they have their they didn't really run numbers. I think Klein wore like 5 different numbers for the Phils, but the other guys did not have numbers, so they have the different style P's from their eras. But those were the guys that everybody got the actual numbers. Everybody got thrown off by the ones, and it was something new they've done recently. All right. Quick housekeeping note, be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Philly Jimbo, as well. There will be another Brotherly Birds breakdown. This week, we'll take a recap of the Patriots game, get you ready for the third and final preseason game against the Bengals, and then see where kind of things are shaking out in camp in our season 1 finale. We'll be back with season 2 the following week. Looking forward to that. That's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Still trying to work out. Hopefully I can get some of the final recordings and things we need, but there should be a new Philly Hall coming very, very soon. We have a meeting tonight to see kind of our production and release schedule, so stay tuned for that. Lots of big things coming with that on the horizon as well.
Looking for some new Philly sports gear? Check out Philly Goat. They've got original apparel for the Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Union, and everything else Philly. Head to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off. Go Birds!
All right, August 25th, and this is a really mixed bag of things we're talking about today. But first, let's go back to 1922. And on this day in 1922, the Phillies give up 10 runs in the second, 14 in the fourth, and found themselves down 25-6 after 4 innings to the Cubs. Phillies, though, did chip away, scoring 8 runs in the 8th. They added 6 more in the 9th, but came up just short to lose this game 26-23 after loading the bases in the 9th inning as well. The Phillies lose to the Cubs 26-23. They scored 23 home runs without hitting a home run, which I could not find this for sure, but at the time was a team record. The two teams overall combined for 51 hits, 49 runs, 23 walks. All of them set Major League Baseball records at the time. The Phillies still hold the record for most runs scored in Major League Baseball history in a loss. And the total combined score of 49 still is the Major League Baseball record for runs scored in a game. The books did not like the over bets in this one. Man, and if you bet the under, how bad did you feel? But Phillies, Cubs, 26-23. Cubs win, highest scoring game in Major League Baseball history on this day in 1922. And that leads us to today's trivia question. The Phillies have also played in the second highest scoring game in Major League Baseball history. This is a two-parter. Who was their opponent and what was the total amount of runs? And I will tell you this, if you are a loyal, hardcore listener, you should be able to get half of this. And I've told you the other half over the course of this summer. So that is today's trivia question. Phillies also played in the second highest scoring game in Major League Baseball history. Who was their opponent and what was the total amount of runs? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Any of my social media at Philly Jimbo or the Discord channel, which the link is in the description. All right, fast forward then to 1973, and the Philadelphia Atoms traveled to Irving, Texas to take on the Dallas Tornado for the North American Soccer League Championship. Now, it was a contrast of styles. Dallas was the star-studded team, where the Atoms were an expansion team, lots of young U.S.-born players. So, again, the ultimate contrast of styles here. The Atoms were known for their defense. Coach Al Miller instituted what he called the no-goal patrol and really just focused on keeping the other team from scoring. Relied a lot on goalie Bob Rigby. Bob had a shutout this day in the NASL Championship as the Atoms win it 2-0 to win a championship in their first year of existence. They become the first North American expansion team to win a title in their first season. And the defense was partially led by rookie Bobby Smith, who is a 2026 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame inductee. Looking forward to chatting with him in a couple months. They played their games in 1973 at the Vet and did lead the league by a wide margin in attendance that year. So the Philadelphia Atoms win the NASL championship, going down to Dallas and beating the star-studded Tornado to bring home a soccer championship to Philadelphia. And that happened on this day in 1973. Fast forward to 1995, and it was a big offensive day for the Phillies. They beat the Dodgers 17-4. Pitcher Jeff Juden, who pitched a complete game, also hit a grand slam. Charlie Hayes had 4 RBI, but the story of the day was Greg Jeffries, who hit for the cycle, becoming the first Philly since Johnny Callison did it in 1963. For those keeping score at home, that's 5,107 games between cycles. It also marked the last day that Darren Daulton played catcher, not only for the Phillies, but in his major league career, as he tweaked his knee earlier in the game. For the rest of that season and the next season with both the Phillies and the Marlins, he would play right field and first base. But Phils beat the Dodgers 17-4. Greg Jeffries hits for the cycle. Jeff Juden hits a grand slam. And, of course, Darren Daulton catches his last game in Major League Baseball. 4 years later, the day after winning, we talked about this yesterday, 18-2 against the Padres, Phillies put up another offensive explosion, this time led by Rico Brogna, who went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 7 RBI. Mike Lieberthal also added a home run as the Phillies beat the Pirates 15-1. Back-to-back, just absolute beatdowns of the Pirates in 1999. And then in 2016, a sad day indeed. Then there was one. The Phillies traded Carlos Ruiz to the Dodgers on this day, leaving only Ryan Howard left from the 2008 World Series championship team. And then he would retire at the end of the season. Just a sad time for Phillies baseball. 2016 was we've been talking a lot about it this summer, kind of the systematic breakdown of, and it's sure some guys left via free agency and trade before, but we talked about Shane leaving, Jimmy leaving, Chase leaving, now Chooch leaving. We talked about Cole leaving. That only left only Ryan Howard, who did retire at the end of the 2016 season. But Carlos Ruiz traded away on this day in 2016. 1999, Phils beat the Padres 15-1. Rico Brogna with 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 7 RBI. Greg Jeffries hits for the cycle in 1995. Jeff Juden hits a grand slam, and it's funny to hear John Kruk tell Jeff Juden stories. He was telling one time about, I think he had a tattoo that got infected, and he ended up missing like the entire season or something crazy like that. But that happened on this day in 1995. 1973, the Philadelphia Atoms won the North American Soccer League Championship, beating the Dallas Tornado 2-0, led by goalie Bob Rigby and rookie Bobby Smith, who's going into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame this year. And in 1922, Phil's Cubs played the highest scoring game in Major League Baseball history, Cubs beating the Phillies 26-3. We'll be back tomorrow to update you on anything that happens at the open practice. I always get nervous because I feel like it was one of the first 1 or 2 they had was when Stuart Bradley blew out his knee. So for some reason, I always get nervous about the open practice. I don't know if I have any insider information coming about this because it is the open practice. I'm not sure how much information my son will be able to relay back to me, but I will try. We'll also recap Phillies Mariners game 2. Hopefully Nola can keep his season rolling the way it has been. And remember, you've survived every tough situation you've been faced with up until this point. So why would this one be any different? Be sure to rely on your track record and past experiences to get better. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 25th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. It's supposed to be a beautiful day out there today. So get out and do something outside. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully, this sound came out okay.